Hey guys, it's Mo here. Today we're going to be making some whole food plant-based pizza. So this is pizza you really don't have to feel guilty about eating. We're going to be making 3 different parts of this pizza. So we'll start with the cashew cheese. We'll also be making a pizza sauce from scratch, and finally we'll be making a whole wheat pizza crust. So we'll take it step by step and make it together. Alright, we're starting with our cashew cheese for the pizza today. So first off, we're going to need just 1 cup of raw cashews. And then after this, we're going to add in half a cup of water. A half a tablespoon of nutritional yeast. As well as half a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. Half a teaspoon of salt. Half a teaspoon of miso paste. If you guys have never seen miso paste, this is what it looks like. I use this in a lot of different kinds of sauces that I make. Sometimes I use it in things as a salt substitute as well. It's got a really great depth of flavor, and if you're doing oil-free cooking, this can add a lot to your dishes. So just a half a teaspoon of miso paste. So finally, we're just going to add a little squeeze of lemon. I like to add this just for a little bit more flavor in the cashew cheese. So I'd say about a teaspoon of lemon juice. Alright, so we'll stick the lid on this and we'll get blending. Alright, so you'll just blend that until it's smooth. And it's pretty awesome what you can make with cashews. It is going to be a pretty somewhat liquidy sauce here, as you can see. We're going to set that off to the side and bring it back later when we're ready to put our pizza together. Just a quick note about using cashews in this recipe. If you feel that your blender isn't good enough to really blend up the cashews smoothly, what you can do is you can soak them overnight the day before if you want to prep them, or you can just boil some water and pour that on top of the cashews and let those soak for half an hour, or you can actually just boil the cashews for 10 minutes. Now we're moving on to our pizza sauce. So we're going to start out with 2 cans of tomato sauce. I'm doing a double batch here just because I'm not sure how much I'll need I'm going to try and make 2 big pizzas. So we're just going to do a double batch and save the extras. It's really tasty. You can use it for a lot of different things. So we'll do 2 cans of tomato sauce. A large pinch of ground fennel. I have whole fennel here, so I'm just going to use this adorable little mortar and pestle just to grind some up really quick. So 1 large pinch of ground fennel. I like to leave all my spices and ingredients out for this kind of cooking till the end, just so I taste test and see if there's anything else I want to add in. I feel like every batch I make is a little bit different for some reason, depending on the brand of tomato sauce I use. Definitely save your spices for the end and add some more extras if you feel like you want to taste. So we're coming back with our miso paste again. We're going to do 2 tablespoons of miso paste. Finally, we'll add some maple syrup just to balance out the acidity of the tomato sauce. So we'll need 2 tablespoons and 2 teaspoons of maple syrup. Alright, so we're finally to our last step in this process. We're going to be making our whole wheat pizza crust. So first we're going to start off with 1 3/4 cup of warm water. So not too hot, but definitely pretty warm. I've already got some here in this bowl, and we're going to add in 1.5 packets of fast active yeast. So this is the rapid rise. So this is going to make our pizza crust puff up, but it won't take forever to knead it or wait for it to rise. So fast rise, 1.5 of these packets. And then finally we'll need our sugar to activate the yeast. So we'll need 1.5 tablespoons of maple syrup. Once you have all these things in the bowl, we're just going to whisk this together and let it sit for about 5 minutes to activate the yeast. Once your yeast has been activated, as you can see in here, we're going to add 1.5 teaspoons of salt. We're then going to add some more nutritional yeast. We're going to do 1/4 and 1/8 cup of nutritional yeast. So we're going to add in 4 cups of whole wheat flour. So it seems my dough is a little bit dry, so I'm just going to add just a little bit more water to this dough. Once your dough has come together, it's a great time to preheat your oven to 425 degrees Fahrenheit. So that gets going as you roll out the dough and you start putting together your pizzas. So this much dough makes about 2 pretty large pizzas. So if you feel like that's too much for you, feel free to cut this recipe in half. So you can make this, even thinner if you want and make even more pizza. This is probably about 1/4 inch. Once you've rolled out your dough, get a pan, whatever pan you'd like to use to put your pizza on, and line it with parchment paper. Once your pizzas are all rolled out, you're all set to put on your homemade pizza sauce. point, you're going to need your cashew cheese that you made earlier. As you can kind of see, my cashew cheese is a little bit thick, so what we're going to do is just add a little bit of water to thin this out so it's pourable, and we're then just going to pour it onto our pizzas. So that looks like just about the right consistency. Once you have your pizzas assembled, you're just going to stick them in the oven for 20 minutes at your 425 degrees Fahrenheit, or until the crust is cooked, depending on how thin or thick that you rolled it out. At the end, if you want the cheese to actually brown a little bit more, feel free to broil it, but watch it closely so it doesn't burn. So once your pizzas are done, pull them out of the oven and enjoy. Thank you guys so much for watching.